glad to have you back on the show. And I want to talk about this book and this music, which I understand was inspired in part by you unearthing a bunch of old cassette tapes and journals from your high school years. And I mean, I feel like so many of us kept a lot of writings, some embarrassing ones, during that time period.
We actually have all of yours, so we're going to take over the show. Surprise!
What do you think it is about that period of time in our life, our adolescence, that makes us so inspired to create?
I mean, for us, I can tell you in the book, we're talking about the firsts of things, like the first time I wrote a song, the first time I fell in love, the first time that I got rejected, and
the first time I snuck out of the house.
Yeah.
Smoke pot with a friend of mine.
Parents are gonna love this book. Especially parents of teenagers. Like, if you're worried about vaping and Juul right now, you should read our book, because that's what you should be very worried about. Yeah, I think these seminal experiences, especially because they coincide with our band, and that was how we launched our career, was out of high school. It just was a time that we wanted to revisit, and we wanted to talk about those experiences and being queer women, being creative, you know, our relationship as twin sisters. Like, you know, those were just interesting things for us to talk about, and so many of those first happened in high school.
So the tracks on the new album are all sort of repurposed songs from stuff that you had written during this time. When I go through my old journals and stuff that I wrote, there are moments where I'm like, wow, you felt that hard. Like, it's laughable sometimes. Did you come across anything and you're like, wow?
There was, let's put it this way. I mean, we crafted 12 songs for this record from the 40 or so that we found. There was lots of confusing junk. There was a lot of, there was a lot of stuff that was super embarrassing that we would have absolutely never put out into the world. But there was also stuff there that felt really, 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 really raw and emotional. It felt above where I think I would have imagined we were at. I think Sarah and I were saying things that we were unable to say out loud to our friends, each other, about our identity. We were saying it in the music, and so when I heard it for the first time, I hadn't listened to any of the songs in 20 years.
Wow.
And when I listened to them, I definitely was like, at times, but I was reminded how much I loved making music.
Yeah.
I was reminded that that's when I found out that I loved what Sara does. I fell in love with her as a songwriter. I listened to those words again, and I just thought to myself, this would be so sad to not put these out into the world. So there was lots of cringing, but there was lots of celebration.
Beauty, too.
And I think we don't take young people seriously enough. I think that even we had rewritten our narrative and told ourselves that we weren't valuable, that what we were doing wasn't important. And I actually think what we were writing about was, as Sara said, the first of so many things. And so I just wanted the world to hear it. So
that's so awesome.
And so I made it happen.
Yeah.
Yes. It was, speaking of the music in the earliest days, it was fascinating to discover that your musical talent, Tegan, you were doing this independently of Sara at the beginning. You kind of found out that you were both doing this sort of separate songwriting musical journey at parallel to each other, but never talking to each other. So how did that happen? And how did you discover the moment that one another was like, whoa, we're doing the same thing, though?
I just want to say, one of the interesting things about writing the book is that we didn't write it together. It was almost like I wrote my book and Tegan wrote her book, and then we had this
I still haven't read it. I can't wait for it to come out on Tuesday. I pre-ordered it.
It's so nice. I'm going to do the audiobook for your part.
Yeah.
No, but I was so amazed at Tegan's recollection of remembering what she remembers me writing and how she remembers discovering me writing music, because I had a very different memory of how we did it. So it's funny in the book because a lot of times I would get Tegan's pages and I'd be like, is that how it happened? Well, we'll let her have it this time, you know? But we were really shy about songwriting initially. Like, we would do it really, we would be in our rooms really quiet. Our bedrooms were next to each other, so it was like you had to be really quiet. But the first song I ever wrote was a joke, because I was afraid that if I played my song for Tegan and she laughed at me, it would be really humiliating. So I wrote a song called Tegan Didn't Go to School Today, and it was sort of like,
That's right. Make note. Her first song is about me.
There's a vanity to Tegan, so I knew if I included her in the music, she would probably like it
I was
more.
like, this is brilliant.
Yeah. No, but once we shared the fact that we were writing songs, we were like off to the races. We were writing every day. I mean, it sort of replaced music and songwriting replaced some of our bad habits. We were experimental kids. We were doing a lot of bad things, as we've already mentioned. But music really became this place to focus our energy and our emotions.
Nice.
So the book alternates between chapters. You write one, Tegan, and then Sara writes one. That's how it kind of goes. But you share a lot of intimate moments. So what was it like reading about the darker moments that the two of you were experiencing, but independently? Did anything surprise you?
The whole book surprised me, to be honest. I mean, I think that even I had sort of become, like, let's put it this way. When people meet us, they just assume, wow, you guys must be best friends. You must tell each other everything, especially when you were teenagers and you were figuring out that you were queer. You must have confided in each other. And Sara and I have spent our entire lives basically trying to unravel what people think or project onto us, because none of that's true. We never confided in one another. We were often at each other's throats when we were teenagers. Neither of us really found solace or comfort in the fact that the other one was gay. For us, especially in the 90s, we were still so afraid of what that would mean. And we were lacking in language. And if anything, by recognizing that the other was like that, it just felt like it exposed us. And so, to be honest, like reading the book, it was really fascinating to read what Sara had written, because I didn't know half of what her experience of high school had been like. And it really drove me to continue writing this book, because I really think that it's going to kind of blow up a lot of misconceptions about twins, about women, about creatives, about adolescence. And, you know, I really hope people find something, like, you know, to connect with in the book. But it's definitely going to change the way you think about Tegan and Sara, that's for sure.
Wow. That is a good plug.
That
I
is
cannot wait to
good.
read this book. Now, you started releasing your first albums at the turn of the millennium, when some of the biggest female acts were at the time were like Destiny's Child, Christina Aguilera, and Britney Spears.
Theme there.
So yeah, there is this thing. What's it like entering?
That's exactly what my stomach looks like right now. Under the sweater.
Did you feel like you had peers, I guess, in this musical world?
Don't you see those pictures and think Tegan and Sara
I
fit right
immediately
in
did.
there?
I didn't want to put words in your mouth.
We had like spiky, short, like hair. On our 18th birthday, we'd shaved our heads. We couldn't have been more unlike what was happening in music at that time.
It was also before social media and this kind of social networking that happens really organically now online. We didn't necessarily even know where to find people like us, other bands like us, other queer people that maybe were doing the same things that we were doing. And it sort of happened old school style. Like, we had to actually just go out and find those communities. And one of the things that we're
Ma'am,
really...
I'm just gonna push a hair that's bugging me. Okay.
Good. It sort of was consensual. Like, I sort of was like, I would have said yes, please do it. Sorry.
Sarah hates when I touch her, but it was like this. It was awful.
Thank God you did it. So I think that what we've discovered in adulthood is that those things that we were lacking when we first came out, like, we didn't necessarily feel like we had peers, we didn't necessarily feel like we had community. And so as adults and as creative people who now have, can be more like mentors to people, we suffocate younger artists. We're like, please pay attention. Come over to us, ask us questions. We'll hang out with you. Like, you know, we're always trying to create the community that we didn't really have when we were coming out, you know, so that's cool.
We can't let you go without wishing you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. That is not going to be good for my six-pack.
Thanks for being here so much. We love always when you come by.
Oh,
my
it's
goodness.
so nice. It's so nice to see you guys, and thank you so much.
We spent our
Thanks all of
birthday on
you.
an airplane, so we didn't get cake. So this is
no.
good.
So listen, the album, oh wait, hold on. You enjoy that, I get this, and I say the album is called Hey, I'm Just Like You, and it is out September the 27th. The Memoir, entitled High School. It's in stores September the 24th. Studio audience, you're getting your copy today.